No matter if it's get up and walk around or have a lunch or coffee break or come back a month later. Let's make sure we're all on the same page. Meaning, does anybody have any questions about things that we talked about already that's not 100% clear, and maybe we can make sure that it's all okay? Okay? Any questions at all?
Understanding. I think that maybe when we read the book, it will be more. It's more family, more familiar to heard all the Hasa, Kapta, Agni.
Okay, the language is going to take time. This is a whole vocabulary based on Sanskrit, okay? And the reason I use Sanskrit words instead of try to give you some translation is because the Sanskrit words hold more than just intellectual meaning. The sound has vibration. So later, for example, you might take a class of yoga, all right, and then somebody will play a recording of the Yoga Sutras, and you'll hear somebody chanting, and you'll hear him talk about prana or rasa or words that you've heard before, and you go, oh, I get it. It starts to come together, see? So there's value in learning this new language, different than just learning what the words mean. Hello. So that's one of the reasons I not only that, but they also have deeper levels of meaning. And as we go through learning this, and you start to, okay, I can only give you like a metaphor. You want to learn how to play the piano, you've got to take a class, okay? And the teacher says, you put your hands, you do this. And so you start to do this, you start to practice, okay? And then you practice, and more, and pretty soon this becomes more natural. Then you start to be able to read the music, so you can learn some new thing, you're practicing. And pretty soon you've memorized the music, so you can sit down and play and use it. And then after a while you can actually sit down and compose something, if you keep at it, okay? So learning Ayurveda and working with Sanskrit is like learning some basic chords in music, some basic things, sounds that work together harmoniously. And eventually that vibration is not just something you've learned, it's something you feel when you do it, okay? You'll feel it in your life and in your body and your mind. So there's a good reason for keeping that alive. If you were only wanting to know what is Ayurveda, you could read a book, okay? And you could read a book where somebody threw away all the Sanskrit words, and you would have some concepts, but you wouldn't have an experience of Ayurveda, okay? So you will get better, don't worry about that. And the main thing to do is to remember where the pause button is, because if you stop and ask questions, if you stop me and ask a question, then we not only answer the question, but we can actually open up what's inside what we're talking about. You understand? So there'll be things that are not in books or in this that all come out. In every group that I teach, they end up, because of the way they ask questions, the whole focus and flow of the training goes in one way or different or another. It all depends on what the needs of the group are. So to personalize this, individualize this for yourselves, try to remember to, if you really don't understand something or you would like something to be more clear, you all have a controller, you all have this pause button, okay? And for translation too, when it's not all absolutely clear, okay? So, well, Kala is the word we started with, okay? Kala also means time in Sanskrit. not just membrane. So then we have something to contemplate. We have a meditation right there built into the word. Time and membrane.
Same word.
The same word, the same pronunciation, the same way it's written. So we can start to understand the nature of time in terms of the idea of a membrane, okay, as something that in between two things. And we can see how that interacts and how, like the whole idea that where the metabolism, the transformation, the Agni exists in the Kala, in time also the transformation into wisdom from one thing or another, okay, takes place. Transformation is really important to understand the difference between that and change, okay? You can change your clothes. You can take them off and you can put them back on. But if you transform something, it can never go back to the way it was before, okay? It's different. And that's what we mean by Agni, okay? So one of the most important concepts in Ayurveda is Agni, okay? And you'll come across it in so many different ways, the word Agni. I think the average is most of these words have 5 meanings, but Agni may have 500 meanings. I mean, it's really a powerful word, okay? So it's about transformation. And then when we talk about the 3 basic energies, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha, if you want to translate them directly to another language, you have to compress this. So Vata would be movement, okay, meaning you could almost call that change, okay? It's movement because it can go this way, it can go back. And movement is movement. Pitta would be transformation, okay? And that's why it relates to metabolism. And that's why Pitta relates to an infection, for example, or an inflammation, because that transforms things. They don't just go back to the way they were, they have to be restored afterwards. And then Kapha, the best single word for that would be structure. So when we talk about 5 elements, okay, we're talking about movement, transformation, and structure. And we talk about those 5 elements that we always come in contact with, which is earth, water, fire, air, and space, okay?